line, and John Burton is waiting to be allowed in, apparently.
Perfect.
So we're live, Chair.
Thank you.
You ask for names and I'll change them as things.
Thank you. I will start the hearing now. Welcome to today's hearing. My name is Councillor Baklini and I shall be chairing the meeting. My colleagues, Councillor Shaw, Councillor Anand and I comprise today's subcommittee. Cornelia Harding, who is the clerk to the subcommittee, will be minuting the meeting, and Alison Love is the legal advisor to the subcommittee. You will have all received or seen the agenda pack within which is contained the licensing officer's report with details of the application under item 5. To confirm, we are dealing with the application to review a premises license made by Bob D at Convenience Barn, 217 High Street, Acton, W3 9BY, South Acton. In accordance with procedure, I shall invite the applicant to present the application, answer any questions, and call any witnesses. I will also invite those who have made representations or objections to make the representations, answer any questions, and call any witnesses. At the conclusion of the hearing, the subcommittee, accompanied by the legal advisor and the committee democratic services officer, will retire to consider its decision. The decision will be given at the end of the meeting and confirmed in writing within 5 working days. If the panel cannot reach a decision today, you will be notified in writing within 5 working days of the panel's decision. Welcome, everyone. I will start by asking everyone attending today's hearing to introduce themselves, please. I will start with the premises representative, please. If you can state who you are and what is your relationship to the establishment.
My name is Anil Bajaj. I'm the owner of Convenience Barn, the director of Mazhar Enterprises.
Thank you. Bob, can you please introduce yourself?
Yes, certainly, Chair. It's Bob D. I'm Licensing Enforcement Officer for Ealing Council.
Thank you. I have as well 2 numbers. I believe they're for the Home Office representatives. If you could please introduce yourselves.
They are saying that they are having tech issues. So I propose we move on and introduce them when they've resolved them.
Yes, thank you, Sam. Okay, in this case, can I ask please the applicant to present their application?
Thank you, Chair. This is an application to review premises named Convenience Barn, which is at 217 High Street, W3 9BY. These premises have been licensed since 2012, and the license was transferred to Mazhar Enterprises on the 7th of June 2013. The designated premises supervisor is Mr. Mazhar Naveed Safar. This relates to one visit to the premises on Thursday, the 15th of June of last year now. Officers from Trading Standards and Licensing visit the premises with Home Office immigration enforcement officers as part of a joint compliance visit. When they entered the premises, there were 2 males inside the shop. One was stood on the shop floor stocking the shelves, and the other was sat behind the counter. The officers introduced themselves and the purpose of the visit was explained. The first male working on the shop floor was found to be illegally in the UK. The male sat behind the counter was found to be in the UK illegally after previous applications to remain had been refused. The premises was also found to be breaching condition 3, namely selling high-strength beer above 5.5, and that photograph is contained within the papers. They were also unable to supply copies of the incident book, refusal log, and training files, breaching a further condition. When officers inspected the basement and to view the CCTV footage, they found ashtrays full of smoked cigarettes, and the air was thick with smoke. The above conditions were all added to the current premises licence after the police served an expedited review on the current premises licence holder on the 10th of March 2015, following a violent assault on the premises, resulting in the premises licence being suspended for 3 months and the above conditions being added following that full review. The licence holder is failing to promote 2 of the licence objectives, namely the prevention of crime and disorder and public safety. The 2 officers hopefully can be asked questions later for clarification on the evidence they supply, which is contained in the papers. Also to do with the civil penalty, which I understand has not been paid yet. And that is the evidence, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. I would like now to ask if you would like to get anyone as witnesses. Do you have anyone who wishes to add to the representation, Bob?
I have Renif and John Burton from Home Office Immigration to have supplied statements. Obviously, they can, if they've got technical difficulties, I think we'll have to rely on the written statements that are supplied with the papers, and hopefully they'll sort out the technical difficulties to answer any points of clarification for yourselves and the premises licence holder. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Anil, do you have any questions to ask Mr. Deer?
Not at this moment, my dear.
Thank you. Councillors, Councillor Shaw and Councillor Anand, would you like to ask questions to Mr. Deer?
Chair, I'd like to ask a question to Mr. Deer.
Go ahead.
Deer, is this the only time that you visited the premises, or were they previous instances where you had seen breaches or recorded anything other than the expedited review that was done in 2015?
Yes, this was the only visit, Chair. Sorry, Chair, and then by myself anyway, that I can find.
Thanks. And could I just ask Mr. Deer that the 2 males who were in the shop when you entered, they were the only employees that were on the site, that were on the shop premises?
Yes, indeed. Other people turned up after when they were called. One was at the cash and carry, I believe, and one was at another location but attended the premises.
And could I just ask how long did it take for the other people to turn up then? You say one was at the cash and carry. You know, were they 5 minutes? Were they 45 minutes?
I believe it was about 30 minutes, 30 to 40 minutes.
Yeah, thank you.
Any more questions for Mr. Deer? In this case, we will move on to, I will invite Mr. Anil to present his case as well, please.
As Mr. Deer said, that there was no one in the premises. There was Mr. Fuad Sheikh, who's a license holder and is an employee of my company and my store, was at the back with his daughter, who was crying when Mr. Deer was there. I'm sure he's got that in recording, because he spoke to him and he said to him that my daughter was unwell. My wife had to go and pick up the other 2 kids. So he had his little child there, and he had asked his friend, who is not my employee, to stand in for him. I'm sure Mr. Robert Deer and the Home officers can confirm that.
Sorry, Chair, if that was a question, I can confirm a male did come down from upstairs, but it appears to be a house of multiple occupancy upstairs. Thank
you, Mr. Deer. Mr. Anil, is this the only presentation you're doing, or do you have anything else to tell us?
I know I have done wrong by putting high strength beers in, which I took out of immediate effect, which I did not have any knowledge about at that time. Mr. D had been to the property in 2019 and had a look at the shelves with his colleague, Mr. Shane. And I had asked him at that time, when I was the manager of the store, that is everything all right? And he said, yeah, everything is all right. Regards with the male that was stacking the shelf, who was a student, which I have sent in his BRP and his work status in this country, which he had worked for a total of 28 hours over the week and a half. In his statement, what he said, I was very shocked because he had only started work on the 31st of May, which was the only day he was there in the month of May. And he was there the following week, Friday and Saturday, or Saturday and Sunday, if I can remember. And then had just come in on the 15th and the 14th of June, if I'm right. That's the only thing I can clarify. And when it comes to Mr. Akram, who's a friend of my colleague, Mr. Fuad, he was only down because his child wasn't well, and Mr. Fuad was at the back of the premises and not upstairs.
Anything else to add, Mr. Anil?
That's it at the moment, my dear.
Thank you. Do you have anyone who wishes to speak as well? I believe we don't have anybody.
I have nobody on my behalf to speak for myself.
Thank you. Mr. D, would you like to ask any further questions to Mr. Neil?
Yes, Chair, thank you. Actually, you say the gentleman that was behind the counter sat there had only come down because of the sick child. Is that correct?
That's right. That's to my knowledge, because he's not my staff and he's not employed by myself.
But when he was spoken to, he said he'd been in the shop before working. He comes down to do other fill-in shifts when needed. He also said that he had been there for about an hour and a half, I think he said in the officer's statement here. Is that correct?
I'm not sure, because I wasn't there in the premises. And as I said to yourselves on that day, that he is not employed by me. He's a friend of Mr. Fawad Siddiq, who is my employee, who lives upstairs. So does Mr. Siddiq, as you all know him as, was living upstairs. I have never employed him, and I had no knowledge of it, because when I'm there, he's never there in the shop.
But someone, if it's not you, has allowed that man to work in the shop. He knows all the prices, because when we were stood there, he was serving customers, and he knew all the prices. So he's been in that shop for quite a while, I'll put it to you.
As I said to yourselves, I have no idea about that. And when I came to the store was shut and there was no one allowed into the store, as you remember yourself, sir.
Yes, that's normal procedure, because obviously we can't have people coming in and once we make a decision to close the shop.
Sorry, your line's dropping. I couldn't hear you there. Sorry, I couldn't hear you there. Your line just dropped. Sorry about that.
Sorry, my apologies. What I was saying was, yes, the shop was closed after a certain time because it's an officer safety issue. We can't have people coming up behind us when we're trying to.
Yes, I do agree with that.
It would appear that you're not in the. From the comments you've made, it would appear that you're not in the shop often, and you don't really know what's happening. You will leave it to other people.
No, I do not leave it to other people. He is my employee. I was in the cash and carry, as you said, and I was there in 45 minutes from the time you called. I got a call saying that I had to be at the premises. I did come back there, which my car was loaded with some stock, and my van was coming behind. And I did tell you, I've just come straight from the cash and carry, and sorry for any inconvenience caused. I am in that shop for practically between 8 to 9 hours a day.
Okay. And the last question, sorry.
Yes, sir.
How long have you how long have you been a manager at that shop and actually now own the shop?
I've been a manager over there since 2019, and I've owned the shop since March of 22.
Thank you, Chair. No more questions at this moment.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Fellow councillors, do you have any questions to ask Mr. Anil? Councillor Anand, go ahead, please.
Mr. Bajaj, thank you very much for your presentation. I just want to ask you here, the challenge here is about whether this person has worked in the shop before or not. Do you have CCTV?
Yes, I do.
Was that ever asked for you to present that CCTV as evidence to establish whether this person has worked before and whether you supplied that evidence?
Never was asked. And on that time when they came down there, I didn't know how to work the CCTV. I called my nephew up. He told me, and I showed them what I could. At that precise time when they were there in the premises, they was never asked to provide any CCTV besides that selves at that moment.
Thank you, Mr. Bajaj. I have no other questions.
Thank you so much.
So I just have a couple of questions. One is you mentioned that you have submitted evidence that the person stacking the shelves was a student. I was just wondering where it was received that. It's not in the pack of papers or anything that I've seen. So has that gone to the Home Office or something?
Sorry? I couldn't hear you there, sir.
Yeah, just where did you submit the evidence that the students who were stacking the shelves had permission to be working in the UK or living in the UK as a student?
I have provided to the Home Office, and I had it on my phone, which I showed the officer that I've got his visa and his passport on my phone, and they said that was not relevant.
Okay, thank you.
Chair, may I ask another question? Sorry.
Yes, please go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. Ms. Barja, you said in your presentation that right at the start that you apologised that you'd made a mistake and done wrong. What have you done wrong then if you're saying they were allowed to work?
If you remember, you asked me that you were hiding high-strength beers behind my shutters, and I said, you're more than welcome to open it. And if I've done anything wrong, I am apologetic about it. That's what I said to yourselves at that time in the interview. No,
not in the interview. Sorry, this is right at the start of today when you were asked if you wanted to say anything. You apologised.
It's regarding the high-strength beers. It was regarding the high-strength beers, which I had no knowledge about that they were high-strength because I do not do any other cans. I thought the bottled beers were right. That's the only reason I'd done them for. I had no other high-strength beers except those 3 bottles, 3 types of bottled beers, which I had no knowledge that I was not allowed to do. I thought it was only the canned beers. So I apologize straight away regarding that I have made a mistake there.
Okay, and obviously you are aware that even if you have got a student or a visa from a student that says he can work, it's 20 hours a week. And obviously the officers, unfortunately, can't get through here at the moment. Your employee, the student, admitted working more than 20 hours a week.
Mr. Robert Deere, as you remember in the interview when I was there, I said he started work on the 31st of May, which he worked as a trial shift on that day. He wasn't even employed, as I said to yourself, that he was on a trial shift, and today was his last day of the trial shift. And he had done 5 days in the span of 16 days.
You are aware a training day or a trial still counts as working?
Sorry about that. I thought that when I was training him, I thought that was not classed as working. Sorry about that if I have done wrong there.
Yes, he's working in your shop and literally stacking shelves. No disrespect to the student, but I'm sure he knew how to stack the shelves after several seconds of training. The other things probably on the till would take him longer, I agree. But if he's training, he's working.
Okay, sir. I take that in.
No other questions, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. I just wanted to highlight to you that if you wish to ask the Home Office representatives any questions, they can hear us and then they will be texting the answer onto the chat.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. If any of the councillors would like to ask any further questions to the office.
Well, I think it would be helpful if the officers from the Home Office could just confirm the visa status of the student that was shown, and that what evidence they have. I think that will be helpful for us.
Okay, we will have to
via the chat. And in the meantime, I do have another question for Mr. Baja, which is just around one of the licensing conditions was that an incident log needs to be kept, and this wasn't available when officers entered the premises. So I was just wondering, is an incident log kept there, and if so,
yes,
where is
at
it,
the moment,
and what is it logging?
I have since then kept an incident book, and I have logged the 3 incidents that have happened in the shop, which one was yesterday when a police officer attended my premises and asked for CCTV camera, which was outside on the road, that there was an incident, and I have logged that down. I have also logged where I have refused serving an underage customer. That's the 2 incidents that I've logged as far as it goes from December. That's what has happened. So that's what I've logged at the moment.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Neil, before we proceed, I just wanted to confirm with you if you are ready to give any conditions or agree on anything agreed, because I haven't really seen or heard anything in relation to any conditions that you might offer to the hearing today.
I will comply with any conditions that I set with myself. I'm not going to deny that I'm going to work against the conditions or go against any wishes from the councillors.
Okay. In this case, I'm just giving the Home Office representatives a little minute to just confirm the visa before we can proceed. Sam, have you heard anything back from the Home Office representatives?
Yeah, I'm just sending the message to the chat. The Home Office officers are direct messaging me.
Great, thanks.
So I'll type it out.
Thank you.
Chair, while we're waiting, is it possible to ask Mr. Baja a couple of questions that I've read in one of the statements from the officers?
Of course, go ahead, please.
Thank you. Mr. Baja, I don't know if you've got the papers in front of you, but in the statement of Mr. Bakari, one of the officers that attended them that day, when he spoke to the student, he said he gets paid cash or paid bank transfer. Is that correct?
I have not transferred him nothing, or I have not paid him anything except for the £50 that I gave him on the Wednesday, as I said in the report, that I gave him £50 just to keep going till he continues, and I will pay him a bank transfer once his work is done at £10.65 an hour. This is exactly what I told the officer on that day.
Okay. Well, in his statement, I'm sure you've read that statement.
Yes,
he says he worked 40 hours one week. Last week he worked 34, and he replied yes. There's another time when he says that he worked 40 hours a week and he gets paid £8 an hour.
As I said to yourselves, I wasn't there at that time. And when I walked in and I spoke to the Home Office representative, and you were there while I was answering the questions, if you remember, I said that he had only worked for the last 2 weeks, within a week and a half or 2 weeks. That's when he started work. He worked on a Saturday. They came the following weekend. And I think it was a Thursday when this incident happened, if I'm not mistaken. He had come on the Wednesday and then started work on Thursday. I just walked in and this incident happened. So I don't know from where he got his 40 and 45 hours from. As far as I was concerned, as I said, that he'd done only 20, 25 hours as training, and he was still not given the job as to say that you are totally employed by myself. And I said that I would pay you £10.65 into your bank account once you have passed these tests. that you could manage the shop.
You was allowed to manage the shop for you.
Yeah, he has to manage the shop because he's going to run the till and stack the shelves. As I told yourself, that I was teaching him how to do the till as well.
Do you not find it a bit strange then that you were giving him a trial, fair enough, as you say, training him to be a manager when you knew he was a student that could only work 20 hours a week, and your premises is open 24 hours a day, is it not?
Sorry? Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry, it's Wednesday, alarm day.
Sorry about that.
No, it's actually not your fault, it's mine. It blew my ears out. Now, you just said that you were training him to be a manager. Now, a manager...
To manage the shop. I did not say manager. I said to manage the shop.
Well, what does manage the shop mean then, if you're not a manager?
Manage the shop is stacking the shelves and serving the customers. If I was busy, or like what happened, the incident that happened when Mr. Fuad Sheikh had to look after his child and there was no one there, and asked his friend. And this is where the matter has become worse for myself, because I did not want employees that didn't have paperwork. So if it was on a Friday or Saturday, if I had to go somewhere, I needed someone that could manage the shop or do things for me. I don't see anything wrong with that. That if you give someone a part-time job, that he cannot manage your shop. I was a part-timer when I started the shop, and I used to work for 2 days, and I managed the shop for 2 days.
Oh, what time does your shop open in the morning?
At 8 o'clock.
And what time does it close?
During Corona, we closed at 8 o'clock. And after Corona, we started increasing the time from 10, 11, 12. Now it is 1 o'clock. We were 24 hours. Now it is 1 a.m.
Yeah, that's right. You lost your right to open 24 hours.
No, we did not lose the right. No, we did not lose the right. We shut it ourselves during Corona and never increased the time. We never lost the right.
Well, your hours are 1 o'clock, is it not?
Sorry, we started closing at 1 o'clock. We started closing the shop at 1 o'clock.
Does your licensing hours not say 1 o'clock in the morning?
The licensing is 24 hours.
No, it's not.
Not for the alcohol, for the premises to be open 24 hours.
Right, okay. Okay, so, right, I've no more questions, Chair, thank you.
Thank you.
In regards to the immigration status of Mr. Sharma, I received a reply from the Home Office representatives. I will read it out. Mr. Sharma was issued with Tier 4 student leave with employment restrictions, and he is allowed to work up to 20 hours per week during term time, which is clearly endorsed on his BRP card. Mr. Sharma admitted to be working in breach of his working conditions. I will now, if there are no further questions, I will move now to briefing to sum up. Mr. D, can you please start briefing?
Certainly, Chair. It will be very short. Obviously, this is a premises where 2 illegal workers have been found in control of the shop with no other persons managing them in that shop at that time. One admitted to working up to 40 hours a week. He said he'd been there at least a month working, and he got paid cash below the minimum wage. The other guy said he does shifts here and there. Again, he shouldn't be working at all. I've heard nothing that changed my opinion that, and the recommendation that should be revoked, this licence.
You still with us?
Yeah, Chair, that's it. Thank you very much.
Oh, okay, perfect. Thank you, Mr. D. Mr. Neil, would you like please to start summing up?
I would like the council to look at everything and be fair. I have just taken the business over the last couple of years. I haven't had no problems with the law or with public disorder. Or I agree that there was this person who was not meant to be in the shop, which was without my knowledge. And with regards to Mr. Shubham Sharma, he hadn't worked the hours that I said, and I've always kept to it. And I said that he hasn't done the hours because he's a student. I wish he was there today, but I could ask him the question and ask him what I'd said to him. I will not employ you more than 20 hours a week, no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I've got to say.
Thank you, Mr. Neil. In this case, the panel will now retire to deliberate together with legal advisor and clerk. And we shall be back, I think, within 30 minutes, Sam?
That works.
So should we say 11:35?
Yeah, if everybody would like to wait in the waiting room, I'll readmit you at 11:30, ready for the announcement.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everybody.